I think we're live.
Are we live? All right. Excellent. So I believe we are, and I just need to find my screen again and make sure we're there. So good morning, everybody. Hello, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Bienvenue à notre session de lancement pour cette semaine de prendre soin de nous. Moi, je suis Brandi Blomquist, coordinatrice pour le Nord. Donc, si vous ne me connaissez pas, c'est ça, je suis dans les régions Bathurst, donc Chaleur, Restigouche et puis Edmundston-Grand-Sault. Puis, on a Kim ce matin. Good morning, Kim. I'll let you do it in English first and then I'll repeat.
Okay, I'm the coordinator for Central New Brunswick, so that includes everywhere from Woodstock to Chipman to the Miramichi.
Excellent. Donc, on a Kim qui est dans la région centrale. Donc, ça, c'est toute la région de Fredericton et puis les alentours et puis la région de Miramichi aussi maintenant qui est nouveau depuis quelques temps. So, our intent this morning was to come on and talk about self-care beyond bubble baths and vacation. So what do we even mean by that? And we want to jump in to kind of get in that and then tell you about a bit about our intent with Self-Care Week this week, and you know, what is the relationship towards adoption and why we felt this was such an important topic to bring up. So these themes we've been bringing up. So our first theme was the adoption process. That was the first week. And then the second week was trauma. So hope you enjoyed last week. And if you want to find all those resources, they're on our beautiful website that you can find it there. And this week, Kim and I worked on self-care. So Kim, yeah, let's have a little discussion around, and we wanted to mention, sorry, I feel like I'm like blah, 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 blah. I wanted to mention, we love it when it's interactive. So we're going to ask you a question to reply or comment. What does self-care mean to you? And we're going to get into all of that, Kim and I, as we go along here. But what does self-care mean to you? What does that bring up when you hear self-care? And if it's even like, oh my God, I have no time for that, comment that, you know, like whatever self-care means to you, go ahead. So, on voulait, c'est ça, que ce soit interactif ce matin. Donc, si vous avez, on veut vous poser la question, qu'est-ce que prendre soin de vous? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire pour vous? Donc, laissez le commentaire. Si vous écoutez sur le replay, if you watch on the replay too, you can comment and we'll check in with your comments later. So, why beyond self-care? Why did we choose this?
Well, I feel that it was very important to look at self-care. And I know that we all talk about self-care and how important self-care is. Mm-hmm. But we know in the adoption community and the foster community that there's added layers to the trauma a child has and complications and difficult days compared to a child that has no neurological disorders and isn't adopted and hasn't had trauma in the past. So when I look at how self-care impacts your day and how it allows you to remain strong and you feel that you have the strength to continue this journey, you need to give your best for yourself and for your loved ones. And self-care can encompass so much. And that's why we need to look at it beyond the bubble baths, because that's great. The bubble baths, shut the door, turn the lights down, they're great. Vacations, fabulous. If you think that we're all COVID right now, we're not really getting many vacations, but you know, you're adding things like the cost of the vacation. That's extravagant and that's wonderful. If you can do that, go ahead. But it's much more than that. And in this conversation with Brandi and I, you're going to learn that we're going to get into different items like your rituals and the time of day that you can make for this. It's very important because unless you take care of yourself, you won't be able to give what you need to give to others. And we know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just going to do a little recap in French. Donc, Kim nous dit que c'est ça, on a choisi le thème de prendre soin de soi parce que dans la communauté d'adoption, puis comme parents, on sait que c'est quand même, on vit quand même des gros challenges avec notre famille, nos enfants, et puis c'est vraiment important qu'on puisse prendre le temps de se faire notre propre reset qu'on puisse vraiment être là, puis donner ce qu'on a donné à nos enfants. So simply put, you know, it's being mindful of our own needs so that we can better be able to support the people we care for,
Right.
which is our children. And I know we heard this many, many times. On doit avoir attendu ça tellement de fois, de mettre notre masque d'oxygène en premier pour pouvoir prendre soin des autres. You know, that famous saying, like, put your oxygen mask on.
Yes, so they're playing.
There. So like Kim mentions, like we heard this so many times, and it's so easy for us because we're living such, you know, busy lives. I think we can all relate to that, that we all have a lot on our plate. This idea of, I don't have time. I don't have time for self-care. And, you know, in the big picture, that can seem really true.
Yes.
Right? It can seem really true with what we're going through and what we're doing and how our lives are structured and how it is with the kids and our appointments and this and that. But I think there's what Kim and I really want to, you know, put emphasis on today is about the rituals, like she mentioned, and how you can bring it in simply and easily. And well, easily, you know, it's relative to what easy is for you, but find ways to really nurture and take care of yourself. So we're going to get into that today, and then we'll discuss a bit how our week is broken down, what we want to offer you as webinars and all that information and resources. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much the day was really the kickoff this week, give you a little taste of self-care today, and then an outlook or overview of our week and how we want to show up for you and support you through this, implementing this idea of self-care. So I just want to go make sure here on our live, if we're all good here, because yes, we are still live. So I just want to make sure. So good morning, everyone. If you're just joining us, bonjour tout le monde. Si vous joignez à nous ce matin, on parle de prendre soin de soi. If we're talking about self-care this morning, if you're just joining in, tell us, what does self-care mean to you? Qu'est-ce que prendre soin veut dire, prendre soin de soi veut dire pour vous? Okay, so what is self-care actually, right? What is it? Like, it's this idea, right, that we have to take care of ourselves. So the definition I came up with this morning for us is deliberately taking care of your well-being through restorative activities. So something that is going to nurture you.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So do you like that? Yeah, it's a good one, because I think self-care is so broad that you can have so many different definitions around that, but that's the one I chose for us today.
Yes, and it encompasses so many different ideas that can fall into that. So yeah, it's excellent.
Exactly. So c'est vraiment prendre soin de soi consciemment. C'est comme prendre soin de soi en conscience, okay? So you're really conscious that this is what you're doing.
Right.
I think that's the important part. So around mindfulness and being conscious about making the decision of bringing this into your daily life, where Kim and I were having the discussion, and what we've come down to is that it can look like 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day. That's it. We're not talking about, you know, going on retreats. We're not talking about going to the gym every day. We're not talking about these things. But if this is part of your daily routines and rituals, excellent. It's just that in our experience, when we talk to participants, this is not where they're at in terms of their time, because we know we're busy, and we know that one of the major, how do we say that, a blockage, I guess, the major blocks we get is we don't have time. And what happens, we as parents, so not just women, men too, we put ourselves on the back burners, right?
Yes, a lot.
So here we want to really put, again, emphasis on how can you bring in a little bit by little bit by little bit of time for yourself and what that can look like for you? And that's why we want to know what your definition of self-care is, because it's so different for so many people. And what I do for self-care and what Kim does for self-care can look very different. However, the framework we've kind of put together in this ritualistic way of deliberately taking care of yourself through restorative activities that work for you and what that can look like.
And I find that when you add self-care into your day, it allows you to stay more regulated. And
Absolutely.
we know that setting that example up for regulation in order to deal with our children of trauma and the trauma brain, that the more regulated we are, the calmer and the more ease we can control and help them in the situation that they're having, either what we would call like meltdowns or dysregulation. So I find that self-care is so important and helps me with regulation throughout the day, all the time.
Absolutely. And we had our whole week on trauma last week, and we've kind of made the link, the relationship between trauma informed and self-care, because like Kim mentions, when we are dealing with our trauma children, or like, I don't like to say it that way, but
Yep.
yeah. And how do we keep ourselves regulated? We keep ourselves regulated with a ritualistic
Yes.
framework around really taking care of ourselves. Because if we're taking care of everybody else all the time, which we often feel like that, who takes care of us?
Right, we have to.
We have to. And I want, like what Kim and I really wanted this week is to empower you, is to give you back the power to take responsibility for your well-being and give responsibility where responsibility is due for the other adults in your life or for your older kids. And this idea of actually, you know, we'll look into that a little later, but this actually of making it a family thing can be part of your rituals, or at least, you know, talking about it to your family and to your kids, that that's what you're doing. And I don't know, Kim, because I think you've had this conversation with your family before and with Connor around, you know, the vision of self-care and what it means to take care of you so you can take care of him, basically, right?
Yeah, we definitely have. I make it very clear that, like, it's almost when you call like your love tank. Mine is
I
like,
love that. Love tank.
yeah, and if my energy tank is getting low, then I know that I'm not going to be the best I can be, and we can't be walking on eggshells all day and worried about everything all day. It causes a lot of stress. So I find that taking these times and putting these rituals, and I really emphasize the word rituals because I think it has to be repetitive. I think it has to be
Absolutely.
on a basis. If you do it on a Monday and you forget until Thursday and do it again, your life has been busy in there. It means you haven't taken that time for yourself again, right? So we have to make it a pattern because we are important. We're important to our family, but we're important to ourselves, and we need to take care of ourselves to get through what our daily tasks are.
Ritual, consistency,
Yes.
and something that's every day. And I would just like to add in there before I translate in French that, you know, if you do forget one day,
It's okay.
it's okay.
Start again the next day.
Yes. And we want to have a look at, we're going to talk about that, our thought patterns, and how to have compassion for ourselves. So basically it's going to fall into how kind, that's, you know, how kind are you to yourself? So, fait, ce qu'on dit, c'est que faut vraiment prendre le temps d'avoir la consistance dans votre pratique, puis que ce soit quelque chose qui est à chaque jour. Puis c'est vraiment embarquer dans des rituels de prendre soin de soi. Puis ce qu'on disait aussi, que ça n'a pas besoin de prendre, c'est pas l'idée de, tu sais, d'aller au gym pour 1 heure, puis c'est ça, c'est bien correct. C'est juste qu'on dit que c'est par des petites choses à chaque jour, de façon que tu peux te régulariser pour pouvoir être là pour ton enfant qui vit des des moments difficiles parce qu'on le sait, avec des meltdowns et avec tout ce qui notre vie englobe de tous les jours, comment occupé qu'on est, ça peut venir vraiment hectique, puis on peut vraiment s'oublier là-dedans, puis on n'est pas régularisé pour vraiment être là, vraiment être au niveau de notre enfant ou de la personne qui a besoin de nous. So it just made me think about like how, you know, that idea of like in trauma informed is to really to relate. So it brings us to a place where we can actually relate with our children if we feel more calm and more at ease, and that this idea that we feel that we were restored or we've been taken care of, you know?
Yes, because it falls in with like Bruce Perry's The 3 R's, right?
Yes.
And I mean, that is part of self-care to, you know, you relate, you reason, and you regulate, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
So how do you take care of yourself, guys? If you're listening, comment vous prenez soin de vous autres? What does self-care mean to you? Do you have a routine? Do you have a ritual that you do every day? Please share with us. And if you don't, that's okay. And this is the intent with the week, that we want to bring some information and some resources to help you build your own, you know, small ritual. Like we mentioned, Kim and I, it can look like 5 minutes a day. It can look like 10 minutes a day. That's all we need to feel this sense of, you know, oh my God, I've taken care of myself, or something on, you know, that along that line. So it's really around a shift in perspective that we want to bring this week. We want to shift this perspective away from, you know, this this idea that we're left chasing this perfect self-care experience. Yeah. That doesn't exist, okay? Because, you know, either from social media or from whatever, you know, that we compare ourselves to other families and how perfect their life looks and how self-care, they're doing all kinds of self-care, or, you know, they have so much time to go on vacations and spas and this and that. We want to shift you away from comparing yourself to other families that are not living your reality. Yeah. And get away from this expectation around what self-care looks like. That's why it's so important to define what self-care looks like for you. And you don't need to know that right now, but along the week, along this week, we really want to help you define what self-care means to you and what that can look like with you in your life. And Kim had a fantastic interview with a family that we're going to present to you tomorrow in English. And I had one with a family in French, so that you can see what it looks like in different families. And Kim can share hers after if she wants, and I can share mine. So on veut vraiment vous encourager puis vous donner le pouvoir de reprendre la responsabilité dans votre vie pour vous donner du temps pour vous autres. Puis, ça peut ressembler à même 5 minutes par jour. Puis, cette semaine, on veut vraiment vous donner ça. Puis, vous encourager à vraiment trouver c'est quoi votre définition de prendre soin de soi. Because once we define it, we'll be in a better position to be empowered to actually put it through each day. Because when we don't have a proper definition of what it looks like for us, how can we be consistent?
Well, that's true. And even with the consistency, it can look different. Like when I say a ritual, like for example, mine happens to be, and I've never had a drink of coffee in my life, and I'm not a tea drinker. But for some reason, I wanted a hot liquid in the morning, and I feel like it just relaxes me. So I've started to try and have a cup of tea Monday through Friday for school mornings. And I always know I'm waiting for it, like, you know, during that hour that I'm getting my son ready, and there's a lot of regulation during that hour. And I know I have to stay calm for him. I have to use low tones. Everything has to be easy in the morning. And then when he walks out to the stand at the bus stop, which is in my driveway, I literally have my tea ready. I'd gotten it ready when I packed his lunch. I sit down with my tea and I watch him stand there waiting for the bus, and he turns around, he smiles at me, and I wave. And I do that every morning, Monday through Friday. and that peacefulness where I just see that, yes, like he's going out for his day. I'm going to start my day. I'm telling you, it's 5-10 minutes. And then I feel like, okay, everything went okay. And that's it. But Saturday and Sunday, I don't do that because he doesn't get up at the same time and go to school. So I do a different, few minutes before I get out of bed. I can hear him talking or he's up and he's ready, but I'll lay there for an extra 5 or 10 minutes and just breathe deeper or close my eyes for another 5 minutes. I'm telling you, those 5 or 10 minutes for me changes my day. It literally sets me for success. Because
Kim, it does. Yes. Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it just shows us that it doesn't have to be a complicated thing.
No.
It's about you taking time with intent.
Yes.
Right? You are intending on that. You're deliberately taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Your well-being through a restorative activity that suits you. And there's actually such a thing as a tea ritual, by the way.
There, see?
There is an actual thing that's called the tea ritual, and that's exactly it. It's by being conscious, by being mindful that that's what you're doing. You're the whole thing about putting your cup and something warm and feeling the warmth on your hands and taking time to just be with your tea or your coffee or your hot chocolate, whatever, something that's nice and soothing to you, and taking time to just breathe and be, because we all know in our lives right now, it's a lot about doing. Yes. And we don't often, take this time to just be. When do you just be yourself, right? And the tea ritual is an excellent idea. So that's great for our participants. Hopefully you can try that throughout your ritual, if that's something that, resonates with you. Donc, Kim nous disait que elle, comme exemple, dans ses rituels ou sa pratique de prendre soin de soi, ça peut être aussi simple que se faire un thé chaud ou un café, puis s'asseoir avec ça pour 10 minutes, puis vraiment juste être avec elle-même. Pendant que son garçon se prépare pour l'école, you do it after he's taken the bus, right?
When he goes out the door, I already have it ready.
Oui, donc une fois qu'il est sorti prendre le bus, c'est fait, elle prend son café, elle prend son thé, puis c'est vraiment une partie parce que c'est intentionnel. C'est ça qu'on veut vraiment mettre l'emphase dessus, c'est intentionnel de prendre soin de soi avec quelque chose qui résonne avec elle. So it's really around the intention. So
it is.
Yeah, and all right, I'm going to just look up my little notes here because I had a couple, so we can get through that before, we don't want to take, too much time out of your day.
Yes, you take
self-care.
You take a little look there, and I'm just going to explain. So tomorrow we're going to post those interviews, both in English and French. I'm very excited because our interviews get into exactly how, like Brandi said, it looks different in every family. And there's going to be different ideas and different success stories that show how did involving self-care help change your day, your mental health and emotional health. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing a webinar, Brandi and I live at 10 o'clock again. And then Thursday, Brandi, do you want to tell them what happens Thursday morning?
Yeah, so Thursday, I'm going to share a little bit with you into my other role that is also around self-care, because I support and help women and some willing men around this practice or this idea of self-love and self-trust and self-connection, and how we can go deeper into that practice, which is, another part of my life, or another job, I would say. And I'm going to share some tips and tricks with you, and we're going to go into boundaries and needs, and we're going to go into I have some good content for you on Thursday if you'd like to join me, and we'll discuss more around empathy and compassion and how that practice looks. And that's one of the tips I want to bring up today that lead to that Thursday. And then Friday we have
question and answers. We're going to end the week with a check-in.
Yes, we're going to end the week of a check-in because hopefully we want to encourage you to get this started this week, or at least think about it, or at least try to practice it. And this week is all about just like, you know, trial and error in a way, see what kind of works with you. And so be sure to check out all our resources on the website, and we'll post the link below.
Yes.
To help you get started with that. Donc, c'est ça, cette semaine, demain, on a des entrevues avec des familles qu'on a faites autour de pourquoi prendre soin de soi, puis qu'est-ce que ça peut ressembler pour certaines personnes qui le vivent. Après ça, mercredi, on vous on vous fait un petit webinaire qu'on va être là, Kim et moi, pour discuter. C'est 30 minutes. Ça, c'est mercredi. Après ça, jeudi, on embarque dans des choses que j'aimerais vous partager par rapport à une autre partie de ma vie que je travaille avec des gens autour de l'amour de soi. Après ça, vendredi, ça va être des questions puis réponses. Et puis, oh yeah, we have a little restorative self-care meditation. Or yoga practice. I forget which one it is. But we will share that with you. And if we find more, we'll share those resources with you too. All right, so to embark, I guess, on the last part of this live, I just want to, I guess, put again some emphasis, and Kim and I can discuss this a bit, but why self-care is so important. Because it helps you maintain a healthy relationship with yourself, right? And it has a direct link to the way you view yourself. The way you take care of yourself has a direct link of the way you feel and view yourself. And it brings like all around your confidence and your self-esteem and your self-trust. So what we've seen through a lot of research and through my own practice, that, you know, that apart from this job I have with New Brunswick Adoption Foundation, is that it directly affects everything else. So if you do not have a stable and kind and empathetic and compassionate relationship towards yourself, it will affect everything else that you put forward in the world. And that's where it becomes a little slippery slope as to, you know, how our self-worth and how we feel about ourselves. And whether we want to admit this or not, the people we love around us feel that.
Yes.
They feel that. And our kids pick up because they are so highly sensitive.
Yes.
With their own, you know, experience in their life, they feel that. They pick up on that. So we want to be really good role models in this sense, but not feel bad if we're not, right? If we don't feel like that right now, right?
Right.
So Kim, let's talk about just to end here in a way, is that this idea of genuine self-care would involve recognizing and accepting our imperfections, and while also like working on improving ourselves. So what I mean here is that how does self-compassion and being kind to yourself work into your self-care routine?
Well, when you think about it, if you're not feeling positive about yourself and you're beating yourself up because you don't have the same energy that you had yesterday, or you got a bit cranky, or you weren't regulated, then you tend to take that on. You tend to feel like, okay, like it's my fault that this happened, or you know what, I can't handle this anymore. You start to have boundaries that you allow people to cross because you don't have the energy to keep everything in a more contained, peaceful manner. So if I'm feeling like, you know, oh, well, I don't really care today, like this, I'm not going to be good at this anyway, you give up easier. But when you do self-care, you feel that you're doing it because you want to take care of yourself, because you want to be able to help others and have a happy day. So really, if I wake up and I make sure that I grab that tea bag and put it in my tea, I know I purposely, like, I don't even really like tea, but I just know that when I do that, It's quiet, it's peaceful, as you said, like it's everything. It's the heat of the cup, it's a warm liquid. And I take that time just to think. And I usually end up sitting there smiling because I'm watching my son stand up for and wait for the bus. And I'm just like, I have a good life. I can do this. Like we can do this. Like I'm a good mom. And I just sit there, affirmations. Not that you have to go around and, give affirmations all day to yourself, but it's a wonderful time to sit there and say, I am good at this. Like, look at him. Like, like he's thriving. But we have hard days, but I'm good at this. So there's a big relationship between being able to take care of yourself and think positive about yourself with self-care. It really helps for the rest of the day and handle stress and stuff. What do you do?
Absolutely, because we're oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, what's your main self-care idea for the day? Like we can have 3 or 4 of them if you like.
Yeah, well, I wrote a couple down. Yep. So not because we want to make sure, Kim and I had already discussed this. We do not want this to be overwhelming and feel like this is another thing on your to-do list, which it is, let's be real. Okay. It's another thing you have to do, but it's so beneficial for you that we want to be able to help you incorporate it, like we've mentioned, in the rituals and the consistency, where it doesn't feel like work. It feels like, oh my God, I can't wait to just get into my little.
It's like
Exactly. So, and because Kim mentioned that about the way we feel about ourselves and our thoughts, like we do have approximately 60,000 thoughts a day, and research shows that a lot of it is very negative. So it's not to beat ourselves up for the negative thoughts and say, oh my God, I'm not a good mom, or I'm not a good person.
Right.
Think like this for myself. It's more like, okay, this is happening. It's about being conscious and about being mindful, and slowly, with rituals, with consistency, and with kindness and compassion, just to shift that around for you and be okay with the days where you want to give up and run away.
Right.
And it's how can you be kind and respectful to yourself for having those feelings, because they're normal and they're okay.
Right.
Okay, so I was thinking along the lines of ending it with, a little tips to begin you with your week if you want to try it. Yes. So it's 10 minutes max, okay? So you pick between 5 and 10. Donc, on veut vous laisser avec vraiment quelque chose de concret pour pratiquer cette semaine. So we want you to practice this week and give us feedback, comment. We'll be checking in. We'll be posting along this week with resources, and you can comment below if you've been trying. So, so please, if you can, commit to yourself this week, 5 to 10 minutes daily. Pick the best time that is for you. Donc, choisissez le temps qui est la meilleure pour toi, because again, what works for Kim,
right,
doesn't mean it works for me or someone else. So you must know what works for you during your day. And this is what I came up with. A time for stillness, where you're just being through that, let's say, that tea ritual. So can you allow yourself 2 to 3 minutes, I don't know, to just be? You don't have to have a deep meditation or prayer going on. Can you just be mindful of your breath for 2 to 3 minutes and just be? Yeah. So that would be one thing that I would highly encourage or, suggest here. Then I would add in to this ritual time in nature, if you can. And time in nature doesn't mean you have to take your car and drive far away. Can you put your face outside and breathe that air outside, or get some sunshine on your face for 1 or 2 minutes?
Right.
With intent that you're connecting with nature. So even if it's looking at a tree in your backyard, or if it's evening for you, looking up at the stars for 2 to 3 minutes. Again, connecting to your breath.
Right.
So this time with nature. If you can, longer, go for a little walk in your neighborhood, or go to the beach, or I don't know, if you can go, but we're talking about little things that you can do from your home, really.
Right.
Are you getting movement? And movement can look like 2 minutes of dancing with your favorite song on.
Love music.
Okay, so we can put music on and we don't need an hour at the gym, but can you move your body for 2 to 3 minutes during that like 10-minute space that you're choosing, you're doing for yourself? And hey, I encourage you, if you want to dance for longer, go ahead. But it could look like dancing or like stretching or, you know, whatever little thing to just kind of connect with your body. So it's like connect with your breath, connect with nature, connect with your body.
Right.
So very, very simple things. And Kim and I were discussing this morning as well. Allowing yourself to be comfortable is also something great to incorporate in your ritual. Can you sit down in your best comfy chair, lay down on your best mattress? I don't know if it's on the floor, if it's, you know, wherever. Can you sit or lay down comfortably and be comfortable for 2-3 minutes?
And this one I think will take practice, because when we spoke about it, I had said if I laid on my couch, I'd probably be like, okay, when I get up, I got to go get the laundry done, this, that, because your brain automatically goes to your tasks and what's ahead. So that one will take some practice for some people, but eventually you'll get to where you're in your mindfulness. It's just about you. And like Brandi says, your breath, and concentrate on it. You can even put headphones on and drown out the sounds in your room, right? So these are very small ways to build up, and they make a big difference.
Absolutely. And, you know, like when I practice and I sit with myself, I usually, my way of being comfortable, I do go take a bath, and sometimes it's not very long, but I'll be in there. And like Kim mentioned when we were talking earlier, she's like, oh my God, the laundry and this. And yes, your thoughts are going to arise about everything else you should be doing. And it's okay. And it's the idea of you being kind to yourself and saying, it's okay that I'm having all those thoughts right now. It's normal. I have a busy life and I'm just starting to practice.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I don't want to add too much, but this last one is very, very close to my heart. And it's a way for me to self-care and to release and to connect with myself, is through journaling. And sometimes also it's 3 to 5 minutes. It's just a jolt down. It doesn't have to be a big, you know, big conversation with myself through journaling. Sometimes it's just to get things out. And that really, really helps me to get it out. And it helps with my patience, because then I feel that I had a way to kind of process it out. And sometimes I'll go read it later and, you know, but it's this idea of getting it off my chest. Yes. So that I'm a little bit more patient when my kids do come home from school, let's say, and there was something kind of, you know, on my mind, because we always have some things on our minds.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. I do believe, Kim, I'm going to.
Yeah, I think we covered it, and I think that we're hopeful that you guys are going to engage with us this week and let us know what you've done, or let us know that you've tried. We're really excited to hear about your rituals. We can share them with all the other participants and everything. We know that we have a lot of families out there with very busy lives. So take a moment. This could be part of your mindfulness this week, and join us and take a few moments to explain what you did and how it worked for you.
Absolutely, that's great. And so, ce qu'on veut vraiment, c'est partager ce que vous allez faire. On veut vraiment vous encourager à commencer cette semaine. C'est que je vous donne des petits tips pour commencer pour votre rituel. C'est vraiment de prendre le temps pour vous, que ça peut aller entre 2 à 10 minutes. Prendre du temps avec connexion avec soi, puis sa respiration. Ça fait, pouvez-vous vous allouer de vous asseoir confortable à quelque part, puis juste être confortable. Pouvez-vous avoir une connexion avec la nature, puis ça n'a pas besoin d'être parti en nature pendant des heures. Ça peut être 3, 4, 5 minutes. Aller respirer dehors, regarder les arbres. Si c'est le soir, regarder à la lune, ou le jour, avoir un peu de soleil sur votre visage. Vraiment la connexion avec la nature. Après ça, du mouvement, un petit peu de mouvement. Si vous avez la chance d'aller prendre une marche, parfait. Si vous n'avez pas le temps de prendre une marche, est-ce que vous pouvez mettre 2 minutes de musique puis danser?
Yeah.
Juste l'idée de vraiment bouger notre corps. Puis, réflexion par écriture de notre journal. Pour moi, c'est quelque chose de gros. Puis ça m'aide vraiment avec ma patience. Donc, vraiment, peut-être prendre 2-3 minutes pour faire du journaling le matin ou le soir. Puis, c'est vraiment choisir le temps qui est propice pour vous, le meilleur temps qui est pour vous, pour vraiment pratiquer ces rituels. All right. So, I think that's where we're at, and we're so glad you join us. And like Kim said, we're very happy if you can start your practice this week with us. Share about it. We'll post, and I'll post my rituals. I'll make up a little post, and Kim can make up her rituals, and we can share. And like she said, it helps when we maybe get ideas of what other people are doing. Hey, maybe I can incorporate this way, or or make it yours. It's about making it yours, and yeah, please be easy on yourself. This is not a competition. This is not about getting it right. This is just getting it right for you.
Exactly.
And yeah. And this idea of being easy on you, compassion, treat yourself with empathy, just like you do. You are such a caring. We know our participants are so caring, and they have such great hearts, and they give so much to everybody else. We just want you to, it doesn't mean you have to stop caring for other people. Self-care is not about stopping caring about others. And, it's about just not forgetting yourself through the process of such an open, compassionate heart that you already have towards others. But can you keep a sliver for yourself?
Right.
About that. You do deserve it. We all deserve it. And that's what we're working towards. And that's why we created this theme around adoption and self-care, and it's about parenting and taking care of ourselves through our parenting. And we hope that we can bring as much information and as much inspiration and empowerment to help you create your own little, self-care rituals.
Well, we hope you have a wonderful week, and we hope you stay tuned and join us for the rest of the activities and the webinars that we have for the rest of the week. So take this time and maybe go have a cup of tea now.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, everybody. All right. So we will catch you live again this week.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.